Thank you, Presiding Officer. I'm grateful for the opportunity to speak in this debate, and I'd like to begin by thanking my colleague Stuart Stevenson for bringing this issue to the Chamber. Much of what I was going to say was already thoroughly covered by Stuart in the way in which he tends to cover every possible aspect of a debate in a speech. But I'm going to utilise that piece of advice he gave me, that in a debate, the debate isn't over when everything is said, but only once everybody has said it. But I would like to sort of reprimand him on his divulging postal vote strategy. It's not something I think we should be necessarily sharing with opposition parties. So perhaps if the official report would like to excise that from the record, I'd be most grateful. I must admit, I come to this debate certainly with an open mind as regards to electronic voting. Obviously, that is an umbrella term that captures e-voting and online voting, internet voting and electronic counting. I think there's very strong arguments both for and against. And I'm grateful for the submission and open rights have made available on their website. The submission, I think, the response that we have made to the Scottish Government. And I think they obviously raise a lot of issues, some of which have already been touched on. In terms of where I think e-voting can be positive, certainly online voting, that would be is the ease and accessibility with which it would allow people to engage with the democratic process. Certainly, my own party, in terms of candidate selection, uses electronic voting, and that's a very effective way of doing it. It also allows people to, when presented with options to vote, they can easily see that adjacent to information on the candidate, or indeed, if it was to be for national elections for political parties. So sometimes for people perhaps who only perhaps get engaged thoroughly in politics at elections, they can go in and some of the issues can be perhaps quite vague. And obviously we're not allowed to have campaign material within actual polling places. So there's opportunities there in allowing people to properly evaluate. Also, certainly, online electronic voting would facilitate other sort of voting methods, be it STV or such like, to be counted and verified far quicker. But I also recognise many of the arguments against. I think the key one for me is the challenge and difficulty in auditing. Clearly, electronic voting and the various mechanisms of security that would be required create a level of opacity which only a technical expert with the capacities of someone like Stuart Stevenson could accurately discern. And I think fundamental for the democracy is the capability of any person without that expertise to be able to evaluate and discern. And there's nothing more straightforward than whether there's a cross of a number on a ballot paper, and I think that's important. Obviously, issues of personation, privacy, etc. Are very relevant as well, and clearly concerns with potentially vote selling. But these obviously are behavioural, and there's aspects to that, how that could be mitigated. Clearly a big concern in the present day and age is that of foreign interference. The kind of ongoing investigations in the United States are testament to that. And that would, it's not just simply that experts could necessarily be convinced of the security and safety of these systems, but the general public has to be as well. There has to be, the confidence in the system has to be unimpeachable. So I think for me that the balance I'd probably, where I probably stand at the moment is probably around e-counting, which I think is a very useful mechanism. It certainly works very well in local elections. I think the idea of trying to do an STV calculation by hand, I don't think anyone would welcome that. And I think certainly it's something we could potentially look at for parliamentary elections to this place and indeed to Westminster, if that Parliament so wish to consider. It certainly would expedite the process. I think it would be very beneficial for the staff that have to sort of spend long hours in drafty halls, and I think certainly for all of us it would be beneficial to all of us as candidates because it would shorten that period of having to wait and the uncertainty that goes with it. So just to conclude, I once again want to thank Stuart Stevenson for bringing this very interesting debate to the Parliament.
Thank you very much.